It's the debut of a new bit, a new segment. Y'all ready for this? It's time for DC in the 80s. And tonight we're talking about Action Comics 544. No, 554. That's right. Action Comics 554. Why? Because my homie Joe Corallo, friend of the show, recommended this and said that it is one of the absolute best Superman comics that he ever read. It's easily available. You can find it for a relatively easy, cheap price. And I agree with Joe. This is one of the best single-issue Superman stories I have ever read. It is written by Marv Wolfman with artwork by Gil Kane. And the story is, what if Superman didn't exist? So it's about this space armada coming to an Earth, and they come to an Earth that's very primitive. Even though it is the 20th century, Earth is incredibly primitive. They have no idea of mythology, of the hero ideal, or of violence or resistance. It is because these aliens have, at times, throughout Earth's history, put out these energy pyramids or whatever, and there's this really long, elaborate plot where because of the violence of mankind, they'll eventually find these pyramids, destroy one, it will activate it, and it will remove all idea of mythology and imagination from the planet, and then they come in and they conquer it. So they show up and they start conquering this primitive version of 20th century Earth, and we're introduced to two kids, Jerry and Joey. Spoilers, that's Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, the creators of Superman. Do you get where this story's going? All right, so these aliens are attacking. Their parents have disappeared, and the populace are like, we don't know what to do. They're just going to take over. They're going to get rid of us, and we can't do anything about it. There's some really gnarly scenes where at the time you think you're watching children being boiled alive. Don't worry, it's all better. Then it throws back to the explanation. Vandal Savage finds the first of these energy pyramids, right? And Superman teams up with Rip Hunter. They just explain this so quickly. And in order to defeat it, they go back to the very dawn of time, and Superman destroys this energy pyramid so that Vandal Savage can't win. And by destroying that pyramid, he changes all of reality, and nothing ever happened. Like, there's no idea of heroes. There's no wars. There's no resistance. There's no violence. There's no mythology. The Justice League doesn't exist. The Titans were never born. No warrior in any age ever raised a sword in battle. And you would think it would be a utopia, but it's not. Because they never formed cities. They never formed defenses, and now they are just slim pickings for this alien armada. But Jerry and Joey think that, you know what? If they come from the stars, maybe this hero that they've been thinking about, because they've been thinking about a hero who can fly and who's super strong, and maybe he comes from the stars as well. And as they're talking about it, Joey's like, you know what? You tell me what to draw and I'll draw it. And what does he draw? He draws Superman. So together, Jerry and Joey create Superman. And then they go to the town populace after crafting these very crude Halloween costumes of Superman. And I wonder where they got that, but whatever. They're ingenious kids, right? So this laser of death is coming right at them and their village. And they're like, no, just believe. Believe that our Superman exists. We need to believe in something better. This kind of goes into a Grant Morrison idea. You got to believe in an idea. You have to have an idea before it can exist. You know what I'm saying? Before the bomb was a bomb, it was an idea. And now we've made a better idea, and it's Superman. So the kids are telling everybody to believe in the idea. And then right as soon as they hit it and the belief factor ramps up, Superman pops into reality, completely showing up to save the day. He destroys the alien armada. Turns out they're just these little tiny pathetic creatures that can't even actually harm anybody. That's why they have to rid each world of the idea of violence and the idea of mythology and imagination. Oh my freaking goodness. So he clears out the aliens, but he saves them, and just a new day dawns. The time reverts itself back. And then at the end, you have Jerry and Joey being congratulated by their dad, saying, you are the heroes. 2 pint-sized, troublemaking kids from Cleveland. You are the heroes. I am proud of you. And then on the last page, Superman looks back, winks on him a little bit, and then, let's close up. Look at that. That's a man named Jack, or a boy named Jack, and a boy named Joseph. That's right. That's Jack Kirby and Joe Simon, baby, talking about how they were inspired by the creation of Superman. And, of course, the dedication. Dedicated to Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, whose imagination led to generations to even more imaginations, with deep respect from Julie, Marv, and Gil. Y'all, Action Comics 5554. Joe told me it was one of the best Superman comics I have ever read, or that I would ever read, and I agree. It absolutely was. And that was DC in the 80s. The book's got a cover date of April 1984. There's my copy right there. As soon as Joe mentioned this book, I had to pick it up and check it out. The book is cool. It really is. It's a nice one-and-done story. How refreshing is that? It's a pre-crisis book, but it doesn't matter. Joe is an expert on pre-crisis DC. I love the ads on these things. We got Masters of the Universe, The Power of He-Man, the video game. I want to get that on Atari. I want to play it. I don't have it in television. Look at that Joust ad. But I love old school comics. This is a nice one-and-done story that really does talk about the power of the idea of Superman. And there you go. There's that ad for Superman, He-Man, I should say. But some really cool stuff in this book. Great artwork by Gil Kane. Gil Kane is a legend in this industry. He's got interesting composition and layouts for their time. Gil Kane was a co-creator of Hal Jordan Green Lantern. And this story just gets to the heart of it, man. Like, what if Superman didn't exist? Well, someone would still have to create him. And it's Joe, and it's Jerry. And they inspire Joe, another Joe, and Jack Kirby. And what do they create? They create Captain America. They create so much, and that eventually leads into the Marvel Universe. This book was a great tribute to creators that created these monumental mythological ideas that we know and love and hold so true and dear to our hearts. This book is amazing. Even if you aren't the biggest Superman fan, but you just love the idea of these characters and the creators that made them and how important they are, this is a must-own issue. Action Comics 554 from 1984. DC in the 80s, gold. If you've read the book, what do you think about it? Let me know.